Hi, I'm Randy Hollenbeck, and this is the Music Roundtable. Today on the show, we have Josephine from pop rock band Bullets and Butterflies.
Hi, how's it going?
I'm falling down a rabbit hole, straight to wonderland. Rabbit hole, twists and turning all alone. Rabbit hole, where it stops, no one knows. Where it stops, no one knows. Rabbit hole, straight to wonderland. Rabbit hole, twists and turning all alone. Rabbit hole.
I just want to start out by digging into some history. What sparked your interest in music?
So, I've kind of been in the music industry for pretty much my whole life. My dad, I don't know if you're familiar with the band Skywind at all. Okay, so they were pretty big in the local scene. They did some big touring back in the early 2000s. So I've kind of just been surrounded by music my whole life. He's also a producer as well, so he tracks a bunch of bands' music and mixes it, masters it, does all the things. Um, so not only was I surrounded by his band growing up, like there were multiple bands in and out of the house all the time. So it just it's kind of in my blood. I was just raised with it.
Now, what made you think, um, hey, let me start a band? What sparked that to be uh, a vocalist and everything like that? Was it something at an early age? Did you see a band, listen to vocalists, and hey, I want to follow that?
So I had a band in high school for a little bit called Fever Dream. We just released our last song of a 3-song EP a couple days ago, which was fun. I had a lot of fun with those guys. They're all super sweet. Logan Stoliker actually just moved to Nashville. He was the guitar player for that band. He moved to Nashville and he's doing great things out there. I'm super proud of him. Um, but then I kind of decided for a little bit that music wasn't going to be my thing. I ended up just doing like acoustic cover shows with my dad. My dad and I play those kinds of shows all the time. We are usually playing like 3 to 4 of those a week in the summer, um, which is so fun. I enjoy every minute of it. But I ended up going to school to be an esthetician after high school, which is like, for those who don't know what that means, I'm licensed to do like facials and waxing, and I have my advanced license so I can do like chemical peels and stuff like that, which is also really fun. I enjoy doing that. I am not practicing anymore. Um, so after I graduated from that, my dad um, called me up one night and was like, "Hey, I really want you to do a cover of this song called Possession by Sarah McLachlan with your sister, kind of make it a duet." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Like, I'm totally into that, right?" Because I loved doing cover music. I still enjoy it, but it's not really our main focus in Bullets. But so yeah, we were gonna do that, and then I kind of went digging through. We use Dropbox. I don't know if you're familiar with that at all. Yeah, so we have a bunch of like music files in there, and there was this old instrumental in there that was fully written, didn't have any lyrics or melodies or anything over it. And I kind of just got inspired one night and I was like, well, I think I'm going to try and write because I hadn't written in quite some time. Um, so I started writing to that and we just kind of ended up recording that. And then Bullets and Butterflies was born.
Now, Who are some of your favorite vocalists?
So I'm really into Flyleaf. I don't know if you are familiar with them at all. Yeah, Lacey Sturm is incredible. I'm in love with everything that she does. Um, so that was definitely like one of my biggest inspirations going into this project too, just because her vocals are just phenomenal to me. I've been listening to Flyleaf for years. I love Paramore, of course. Evanescence is great. Um, I love Linkin Park a lot too. They're definitely one of my favorite bands, like of all time. But yeah, I would say those three for sure.
Okay. And you mentioned Sarah McLachlan. Would that be one of yours?
Not necessarily. I don't know a lot of her songs really. I just really know a handful. Um, but Possession is a really beautiful song, and I feel like it's one that not a lot of people know. I could be wrong, but uh, yeah, it's just got a very beautiful melody line and very cool lyrics.
Okay. Now, how did Bullets and Butterflies form? Can you tell me about that story?
So originally it was supposed to be my sister and I fronting the group. So you'll hear her on our first two releases, Seasons and Two Gray. Um, but then after we released that, she's still in high school too. So she kind of decided that music wasn't really going to be for her, which is completely understandable and so respectable. Like I'm very proud of her for having the confidence to be like, you know what, I don't really think this is my thing. Because I wouldn't want her to go along with it and be miserable. So it was supposed to be her and I and my dad really running the show. And then I ended up going to Europe for a couple weeks. Right before I left, my dad and I were kind of talking about who we envisioned being in this band with us and like what kind of roles they would play. Excuse me. So I left, and before I left, you're probably not familiar with the band Vaudeville at all. Okay. They were in the local scene too, and I remember them tracking with my dad when I was a kid, which was cool. So I had brought up those guys and asked kind of what they were doing, just because I have been a huge fan of them, ever since I can remember, really. And my dad was kind of just like, "Oh, I don't know. Like I feel like they're not really doing music anymore. They're just kind of hanging out, doing their own thing." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Like I was bummed, but whatever. And then a week into our trip to Europe, I get a text from my dad, and he's like, "I'm gonna call you at 11 o'clock your time. Like, be ready by the phone, like connected to Wi-Fi. I've got to talk to you about something." So I'm like a little nervous, kind of freaking out. Like, okay, is something going on back home? Like, am I gonna need to hop on a flight and leave? Like, what is going on? So we're waiting outside this restaurant. My phone starts ringing, and he's like, "Okay, so Shara's in." AJ Sugar is in, John is in. And I like instantly burst into tears. Like I was freaking out. Like, best day of my life. Like, not only am I in Europe, but I find out the three guys that I wanted in my band the most are going to be in my band. Like, the coolest thing ever. So, yeah, once I got back from Europe, we had a meeting with them. Everything went well. All of our personalities clicked. Um, and then they sent me their Dropbox file of all the things that they didn't have anything written to. So then that kind of turned into a lot of the songs that we have out right now. And yeah, that's kind of how everything was formed.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's literally my dream come true. It's amazing.
How did you come up with the band name?
So it was actually none of us in the band that came up with it. My dad also plays for another cover group called My Famous Friends. So it's him and then a bass player, and I'm actually joining them come February. But so the bass player's wife can't remember song titles, and Dan can't hear very well sometimes. This is to my knowledge. I was not there when this was talked about, but um she was asking him to play, what is it, the Smashing Pumpkins song, the like bullets with butterfly wings or something like that. And he thought that she said bullets and butterflies, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I need to call Wally. This needs to be the girls' band name. This is so perfect. Like, it matches their personalities so well." Um so then my dad just kind of called me one day and was like, "What do you think about this?" Because we didn't really have a name for the project yet. And I was like, "All right, it's perfect. I'm sold." And then we just kind of stuck with it. It makes for fun merchandise too.
Cool, cool. Um, what city are you based out of?
So we're kind of based out of the like St. Paul, Minneapolis area. I live out in Buffalo, which is an hour west of there, but everybody else lives in that area.
And how's the music scene around there?
It's actually kind of just starting to regenerate a little bit. It was really popping in like the 2000s. Um, it was kind of dead for a while. I think COVID really killed it off, which I mean, it kind of did that for a lot of things. Um, but now things are really starting to respark. Corey Carlson, he lives here in St. Paul. He actually started this thing called North Star Original Review. Um, so what he does, and he has a couple other guys that work with him too, but um, it's like an artist development kind of deal. So they book artist showcases at Midway Saloon in St. Paul, and then they're also starting another one too at a different venue. Um, and they're kind of trying to book other venues as well out of state, but they have like 7 different artists playing, um, 20-minute sets and quick changeovers just to kind of get other musicians out there and like to be able to play your original music that you don't always get to play in front of people, because a lot of venues like prefer covers, which I understand from a business standpoint, but that also makes it harder for people who write their own music. Um, so that's definitely helping the scene regenerate, and it's making a lot of connections, like especially for me. I didn't know a lot of people walking into this industry. Like the rest of my band knew a lot of people um who are in it, and vice versa. Like everybody kind of knew everybody already. Um but it was definitely nice for me just because I am a fresh face in the industry, to be able to go out and meet all these people and listen to their music and book shows with them. So it's great. It's getting a lot better, and I'm very excited about that.
Like a good networking community there, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. And everybody's so nice too. Like I haven't really crossed paths with anybody that I was like, "Oh, you're rude," which makes it nice.
Oh, I want to talk about a couple songs. We're going to start out with Hey Rose. And like when I first heard this, like it reminded me, I don't know if you know this artist, but Natalie Merchant. Do you know her? She was in 10,000 Maniacs. It was like back in the 90s and stuff. But for some reason, it reminds me of her style. Maybe how you phrase the words and stuff, maybe the music, but there's something in there that like it's like, yeah, I connect with that. That's how I connected with the song and stuff. And I just like how you phrase the words and you like draw out some of the words, like when you say still, you say it's okay, and you draw it out and stuff. I, is that something you just fell upon or learned over the years on how to your vocal, you know?
So phrasing, it's taken me quite some time to really kind of get that down, and I'm still absolutely working on it. It definitely helps a lot to have my dad, who has written thousands of songs, kind of at bay with me. Like if I'm having troubles writing anything, I can be like, "Okay, here's what I have. Let's add some candy to it," you know. Um So that's definitely been my biggest thing that I've had to work on actually is phrasing. Um, with that song in particular, I actually had it written before I had any music behind it, which isn't usually how I write, but it just so happened that that's how that song came to be. So I kind of had a melody line already written out for it. And then I was actually on my way to the studio anyways. So I got there and I was like, Dad, here's what I have. Let's put something to it. And he's very good at hearing things, just like listening by ear and figuring it out. So I just kind of started singing the melody line that I had, and he started playing to it. And that's kind of how that song was born. And of course, we had to make some tweaks from what I originally had. But yeah, that one was fun to write for sure.
And there's also like a little guitar solo in there too that they add. It breaks up the song and stuff, and I like that, you know.
Thank you. Yeah, that guitar solo is definitely I would consider it more simple, but it definitely adds just that little bit of ear candy for sure.
Hey Rose, why do you turn a blind eye? Why they fade you their lines, wasting your time? If you don't put up a fight, it's no harm, no foul, right? Hey Rose, won't you take out those colored glasses, darling? Oh, can't you see it all for what it was and what it is? You're blinded by that glass wall of your ignorance, like it's your only defense for what it was.
And the next song is Rabbit Hole. And falling down the rabbit hole, where it stops, no one knows. Have you ever went down a rabbit hole before?
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you still look at the world in the same way you looked at it before that?
I mean, I um my guitar player and I talk about doom scrolling all the time, so I fall down the rabbit hole. Like I will scroll through Facebook, like if I have free time, which is very few and far between, but like if I'm turning my brain off and scrolling, I am going down quite the rabbit hole.
Now, how did you come up with this song? How did you write it and everything? Like you were saying before, like you had that almost written out before you presented it to your dad. How did this song come together?
So I Alice in Wonderland was like one of my all-time favorite movies growing up, which is kind of what this song is based off of. Um, so when I was still in esthetician school, I had a lot of downtime when I was just sitting there waiting for clients. So I actually wrote a poem about Alice in Wonderland, and I didn't keep a lot of what I wrote in that, but that's kind of what I based a lot of the lyrics off of in this song. So after the meeting that I had with the guys, like the first original meeting after I got back from Europe, when they sent me that Dropbox file, this was actually the first song that I wrote to out of those groups of songs. So it was like a week after they sent it to me, I was like, okay, I've got the first one done. Let's go track it now. um, so yeah, that's kind of how this one came to be. And there were some tweaks that we made too with the melody line and some of the guitar lines in the song. You know, we kind of had the bare bones structure when we brought it in, but I'm very happy with how that one turned out, and it was definitely a good first crack at it for us.
And that's more of a up tempo rockin' one too.
Hmm. Yeah, that's so we have like our first album done, written and recorded. We're now moving on to our second one. and we have 2 songs done for our second one right now. And a lot of our songs that we have now for like that we're working on for the second one, or the ones that we have recorded for it, they have that dirtier, grittier, like up tempo feel to it. And I think we're really starting to find our sound kind of deal. We also definitely have a more structured writing process too, which is great. So yeah, I'm looking forward to these new ones too.
Slipping through the cracks of a looking glass. Spin around, trying to find a way back. I saw your Cheshire smile, telling me to stay a while. Now I'm left here hanging by a thread, falling down, 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 down. I'm falling down the rabbit hole, straight to wonderland. Rabbit hole, got to find my way back home.
What's your plans for 2025?
So it looks like we are going to be releasing that first album probably, I would say, February, March. And we have, let's see, 2 shows booked for January right now. One on the 18th and one on the 25th. And then it looks like we might be playing a dual album release party with the Modern Era in April, which will be super exciting. But yeah, other than that, we're just trying to book a lot of shows and kind of get out there more. Focus on our social media presence as well. We're starting to get better about that, but I for a long time didn't want to do TikToks or Reels or anything. But we're now working on those, so we'll be posting a lot more of those.
Yeah, I saw a few recently. I've been sharing out there and stuff. So I've seen you being more active and stuff on there.
Yeah, it's so important, and we all knew how important it was. We just didn't want to do it right away, so we kind of had to. It was necessary.
Where can we get a hold of you? Facebook, Instagram?
Yeah, so we're all over. We're on everything. We've got Facebook, we've got Instagram, we're on TikTok. All of our music is up on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, pretty much everything that you can use to listen to music. So yeah, we're everywhere.
It's just bullets and butterflies. Is that it?
Yeah, so our Facebook is Bullets and Butterflies. Let me look and see what our Instagram is, just so I don't give you the wrong one. So our Instagram is official Bullets and Butterflies. And then our TikTok is, let's see, _bullets _ and _ butterflies.
Okay. That's all the questions I have. Thanks for coming on the show today. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, I mean, come see a show, come listen to our music, support local music. Yeah, that's about it. I love you guys. Thank you.
Rose, aren't you tired of the way they make you feel day to day? No appreciation, same